to the big question of the offensive side, in my humble opinion. Let's turn to the offensive line. Obviously, the offensive line has got some restocking to do. There's been a lot of movement in a lot of areas, player positioning, eligibility for spring, a lot going on there. So Eric, who's going to be your starters coming out of spring, backups, depth, etc.? We should make note of one thing. Ethan White is not expected to participate in spring ball. I don't know if he's enrolled at this time. I know I guess they're looking to get a spot for him because they just don't have a spot on the roster at this moment. But if Eric, have you got any more updated information on that, let us know. So you got the field. Go ahead and name your starters and backups.
Well, the Ethan White situation, and Lincoln Riley alluded to this when he spoke to media this offseason, where he said that it's just kind of a rule where when you lose guys, if you lose a player at the end of a semester and they enroll somewhere else, right? If they transfer and enroll somewhere else, or if they graduate, then you can replace them. But if they don't, then you don't get kind of the initial counter spot to be able to bring somebody in. And it seems like Ethan White got caught up a little bit in that. So again, saying that, at the end of spring, I still think he's your left guard starter. So I'm not going to list him because I know you talked about just guys who participated. So we'll start at left tackle. And honestly, immediately I've got kind of a question, or at least something to definitely keep in mind. Jarrett Kingston came down from Washington State clearly to play left tackle at USC. Now, he's a guy who has also played guard and can give you kind of some positional versatility. He's also a guy that missed the last chunk of the season with a season-ending injury. And so where is he in that process? Is he full go at the start of spring? If he is and can play, I'm going to go ahead and pencil him in at left tackle. The fact that Ethan White's not there, though, it wouldn't shock me if he ends up being at left guard for a little bit, and Cortland Ford can run a little bit at left tackle. So that's kind of an interesting thing to watch for me. But I'll say that Kingston is left tackle. I'll say that Gino Quinones stays at left guard. He played there a little bit last year. Justin Dedich, I think, is going to be obviously the center as he comes back. Right guard, right tackle, I think Jonah Monheim slides into right guard, and then Michael Tarquin, the transfer from Florida, takes over that right tackle spot. That's interesting too, I think, because you've got Mason Murphy there who could play one of those spots. He's kind of my question. Does he get some run at guard and move inside and give you kind of some versatility there? That's kind of the depth thing that I'd like to see. He also could just land right behind Michael Tarquin at right tackle for me too. So, and then Elijah Page is a guy to watch. He's maybe outside of Zachariah Branch, who's going to give you time and snaps and stats this fall. Elijah Page, in terms of development, that early enrollee, true freshman, potentially your left tackle of the future as you go along, how he sort of fits in and what he looks like this spring, I think is going to be interesting to me.
All right, Mark Culkin, what's your thoughts on the offensive line?
All right. So, and this is, again, just coming out of spring camp, and I'll explain why. So left tackle, I got Cortland Ford. I know that he won't be able to participate in spring camp, but I'm putting Ethan White at left guard. And then I've got Justin Dedich at center, Jonah Monheim, right guard. Michael Tarquin will be the right tackle. Backups, left to right, Jarrett Kingston, Gino, Andrew Malek, Andres DeWork, Mason Murphy. Behind them, everyone else, I don't think it really matters. Now, why I've got Cortland Ford starting? He started last year. And there's some roster management that has to be done here. I think he's going to earn that spot but I don't know, maybe it's just me. I find it interesting. If he is not the starter coming out of spring camp, he might jump into that category of Miller Moss. I want the reps. Do I stick around? Am I going to allow another transfer to come in and jockey me out of the position when I'm doing everything I think I'm supposed to be doing? So that's why I'm saying coming out of spring camp, that's the way it's going to be. Whether or not that's enough of an enticement to convince Cortland that he's earned that left tackle spot, that's where I'm coming from.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench in here, just for the sake of a monkey wrench. I'm going to say that coming out of spring ball, the left tackle will be Jarrett Kingston. If Ethan White had participated, I would have put him in at left guard, but he isn't. So I'm going to roll the dice and say Cortland Ford at left guard. Center, Justin Dedich, right guard, Jonah Monheim, right tackle, Michael Tarquin. I thought about Gino Quinones moving up, but I'm just intrigued by Cortland Ford's possibility that would give him two positions he could play. I think he has played some left guard at particular points of time. I also am big on Elijah Page. I think that down the road he could see time, but he's a backup right now. Kind of an intriguing backup is Cooper Lovelace. There was so much made of him. Be interesting to see where he's going. As far as, quote, down the line depth, the three freshmen, Michael Benuelos, Amos Talalele, and Alani Noah, will work their way up. I'm intrigued by Benuelos simply because I think they want him to be the center of the future. We'll see how fast they can move him along. So maybe he'll fit into that. But again, so much depends on Ethan White in fall camp, and it depends on Cortland Ford and how he sees where he's going. I'm not anticipating that he's going to leave.
Eric,
But,
what were your? I'm sorry, Greg. I didn't
No,
hear.
go right ahead.
I didn't
Go right
hear Eric's submissions. What were they?
I had a lot of what Greg had. So I thought that Kingston would be at left tackle, but I'm also really interested. What I mentioned was Cortland Ford at left tackle, and Kingston has certainly played guard before. And so if you need him to play left guard, I think that would be an interesting thing. I think you've got, with Mason Murphy's ability to obviously play left tackle and right tackle, I think you do have, I think you're pretty well set at tackle because Jonah Monheim can do that too. So you got a bunch of tackles. And so I think you have a lot of guys who can move around for you.
Thank you.
I think one thing I'm kind of curious about coming out of spring ball is just how physical this offensive line can be. I'm intrigued by the two Florida guys, Tarquin and White, having already played in the SEC and having been there, and how physical it is. They're gonna bring an element. I have to think that is going to elevate the physicality of this particular USC offensive line. So, all right.
That was a good Florida line too. I mean, that was not a terrible Florida offensive line. Like, you're getting two starters. I know Tarquin was kind of part-time starter, had some injury stuff, but those are two starters from a line that put up some good numbers, good stats. I mean, this is not like, oh, we need to find a place for this guy and so we'll go get him. This was these are three big additions, three big transfer portal additions on the line.
And this is going to be important to me when in the second half of the season, when SC plays the more physical teams, beginning with Utah, especially defensively. I know Kyle Whittingham thinks this could be his most physical and best defensive line he's had since he's been the head coach at Utah. So this arrival of these former Florida Gators may be coming at the right time.